Hey guys, Possible here. Today I got the chance to check out Maxwell's World. I was looking forward to this mod ever since I finally got a hold of the PC version of Fallout 4. And I think you might want to wait a little bit on this one. Half the trouble with this mod is that despite what I can see is that they've tried to fix these problems, they seem to still be there regardless. Half the trouble with this mod is that a lot of the scenes involving the NPCs are to the point broken. They don't seem to want to go to their points where they're required, and most of the time, 9 times out of 10, you'll have to flip out the console and use the console commands to actually get the NPCs into the places where you need them. Now, the other problem is that it's extremely dark. I mean, not just atmosphere, it's just dark. I can't see shit. There's so many little, you look around, you're trying to see anything, and textures are just covered with dark blackness. And I can understand given the theme of it and the ghosts and what's behind it. However, the problem is, it doesn't feel so much like it's part of the environment so much as it just feels like it's poorly lit. I can't see shit unless I flick out the bloody flashlight in some areas, and it sort of, in my opinion, it sort of downplays what could be a very beautifully looking mod. And then it comes down to the other little problem. Half the trouble, and that's not the only problem. You're looking at just the map alone. There is no world map. It just, when I look at the world map, I see it and it's just the Commonwealth and me up some fucking corner in the left-hand corner. Now, there is a local map, but okay, is that useful? Sometimes quests will not have any kind of tracker. Now, well, to be fair, the tracker's always been it sort of broke a lot of the exploration of Fallout ever since Fallout 3 implemented it. But here's a problem. There's not a lot of clear signs or anything indicating in the environment itself to show me where I'm supposed to go. I had to just sort of look around and stumble around hoping that I'd find where the fuck I was supposed to go. And yeah, sure enough, I found it. Yeah. But it was only by luck. Another thing, if you're expecting the chance to use some of the cool new weapons in this mod, well, good luck trying to get that, because the vendor that's supposed to sell them won't even sell them. Clicking on the vendor named Andrea, or some sort of asshole robot, just gets you the response. At this point, no matter where you go or what you do, the vendor just won't sell anything to you. I don't know what are you trying to achieve by it, but I guess, look, there's tremendous work that's gone into this. I feel like the voice acting is excellent. It's along the lines of the quality with mods like Tales of the Commonwealth. I absolutely love Mara R404, and it's beautiful. But because of all these problems, I find myself being pulled out of the game in order to fix a problem. I feel like I'm more of a bug tester than actually playing a well put together mod. And that doesn't necessarily mean this mod is going to be bad. It just needs more time and work to get it working. I think it's way too early at this time to be playing Maxwell's World. Well, I think it's certainly it's great. It's got potential. I can see it there. There's just too many bugs in the scenes. Something needs to be done about the lighting that suits the theme of the mod, but at the same time doesn't necessarily make it more difficult for me to find where the fuck things are. If I get through an area, and there's something to bring up. Another little problem is that just after I picked up one of the last companions you run into, Sturges, I think or not Sturges, oh god, I've forgotten his fucking name. That's another problem too, story-wise, if you can't remember a bloody name. But for some reason, this character wants me to go through the employee tunnels in order to bypass, I think, the presence mechanic in this game, where it keeps spawning ghosts all the time, swamp you and attack you. Half the trouble, though, is that while I'm trying to do that, I encounter these enemies called keepers, which is essentially the same NPC model except without like a bandana and some glasses. And the problem with that is that they're unkillable. So essentially, I think that the purpose behind them is to just run away from them and hope for the best. But they chase you the fuck down throughout the map. And when I originally got back to the house, the haunted house that a lot of the companions were all bringing back to, it just kept fighting this fucking keeper over and over and over and over and over and over. And I don't... Why? So ultimately, you'll have situations where not only you'll be backtracking through saves in order to fix certain problems, you'll be using console commands to fix these problems. You'll have no clue where you're going, because sometimes quests won't even pop up with indicating where you need to go. It's only by luck and the fact that I just love exploring, and the fact that Fallout 4 and a lot of these games gives you that opportunity is why I found these things. I was so determined to find it. Without, I can't experience new guns, and given what I've understood about the curse system, maybe I shouldn't anyway, but at the very least, once the mod's over, maybe can I at least take them with me and enjoy the use of them outside the mod without worrying about the ending or being cursed or... I haven't got through all this mod. At the moment, I'm stuck at the point where I've brought the ghost companion. Ah, that's right. Now I remember. There's a problem with the companions as well. What happens is that then they're treated as a companion the same way that if you were to pick one along, it lowers your carry weight and versus having those perks. Problem is, these companions are treated more like the same sort of temporary companions you get in certain quests, like Cabal, where it's just temporary and all you've got is a talk function. The problem is that you can't trade anything with them. So if you want to offload some of your gear or deal with being over encumbered without shoving mods on to fix that, and essentially circumventing other features that were put into the game to make it a bit more challenging, you'll end up in a situation where you're going to have to run around over encumbered or rely heavily on buff out, psycho buff, Excel, and probably cheats too. And what's the point? There's no point. If they're not going to be, you can't give them items and they can carry the load, then that sort of defeats the purpose of them being essentially treated as companions that have to do with carry weight. Another problem is that none of the dialogue options allow you to just simply move on or say, that's it. No, instead to discontinue conversation, you have to fucking walk away, out of the way, in order to disconnect. It just feels a little bit off. I know these are a little nitpicky in comparison, but I don't want to just have to walk away from a companion. Not every other companion in the game, including most of the mods, particularly the ones that are well balanced, all have the ability to just say nothing for now or whatever. And I have no problem with the system where there isn't any vanilla mashups to make it more so that the actual player speaks. That doesn't really matter to me. I think it works all right. All the dialogue options appear and they give you an idea of what you're actually saying and understand the responses from the NPCs. That's fine. But half the trouble there's these little things like that make it harder to get along with them. So you've got NPCs that are treated as companions that are supposedly allow you to give them stuff in order to bear some of the burden when it comes to carry weight, but they can't. It doesn't let you do that. So they're treated as temporary companions that only really serve to shoot and provide dialogue to make the story interesting. I do think that needs to be that needs to be worked around. All right, so something needs to be done about that, especially. So down the road, I'm sure that the mod will fix these problems. I have no doubt, and it's got a lot of potential there. Given that when the mechanics are working, I'm actually quite impressed and enjoying it. But something has to be done about the lighting. The companions, if they're going to be temporary like that and they have almost no purpose beyond being part of the story, but also assisting you in the area, then you need to sort of, well, alright, well, they should be treated like dog meat. It doesn't affect your carry weight in terms of perks. What's the point? If you can't give them some of the low, there's no point. That needs to be changed. Apart from that, the lighting. Something has to be done as an alternative. It just, even with the power on, and I'm to be honest, my character's so overpowered that I'm even with the presence walking around spawning shit everywhere. I'm not really taking damage or to the point where it's a problem. I would say that I've got shit tons of ammunition by this point. The character's got max level, so she's got all the perks. She's got companion perks as well that also make her more overpowered, and her armor is essentially a lot of crafted by bits and pieces of different mods, so it doesn't bother me. But the lighting and the mechanics regarding that turning the power, it doesn't really make any real difference to me, other than it's still, even with the power on, it's still dark. It's just textures that need to be lit. Just not lit, because unfortunately a lot of the lighting isn't well suited towards that. I think that if you were to apply a bit more dynamic lighting in appropriate ways that give it still an atmosphere of darkness and fear, but without essentially compromising my ability to fucking walk somewhere, then it'll be fine. I did encounter at least some of the new sort of mascot helmets that you can get from some of the NPCs that you shoot, but I need a few of those items, so you won't be able to get any of the weapons. They're completely locked behind a bugged NPC. That essentially there's these two robots that are basically assholes or jerks, and they provide some humorous sort of over-the-top "you're gonna die" dialogue, but the problem is that those characters, only the one with all the cursed items, which essentially apparently relates to the ending. Like, the more you use these cursed edible items, the more likely you get a shit ending. Well, I'm not really suffering a lot of damage, so I'm probably not going to need any of that anyway. So I can avoid that altogether. But if I want to try out, the only temptation I really want is the weapons, because they're new and I never had the chance with them with new weapons like that before. So, alright. But no. The vendor is actually bugged at the moment, so that's another problem that needs to be fixed. So, I know I'm in a bit of a rant, and I don't want to sound vindictive about this, because I think that the mod has done a really good job. He's put time and effort into this. The dialogue is awesome. The voiceover, the voice acting is spot on. I don't have any problems with it. Say, compared to, say, one Quest DLC mod, I think it was an extension of Good Neighbor. Unfortunately, the voice acting in that one was not quite good. But this mod, on the other hand, is on the level of Tales of the Commonwealth, and given how much I'm impressed with Mara, especially, I think that's saying something. So far, it's got potential, but it's far too buggy to play right now, so I'd wait. I know if you're eager to try something new, especially with Nuka World being out for a while now, and it's been played, and there's really nothing else to do in Fallout 4 apart from what really does keep these games alive is the mods, like Skyrim, for example. So, just take the time to try other things. There's I'm sure there'll be plenty of other mods, quite big quest mods will be made in the future, and you'll find something better. Anyway, that's me possible. Until it sort of sorts itself out, just wait until the developer gets around to fixing the issues. I'll see you guys on the next one.
What if there was a place with all the zip of Nuka-Cola? Wouldn't that be the cheeriest place in all the world, where the river's made of quantum and the mountain tops are fizz, with fun and games and rides for all the moms and pops and kids. Well, it turns out there's a